Welcome to the International Conference on Education and Training Evaluation, Improving Learning Outcomes and Supporting Economic Growth. To attend and participate, choose your favorite language. Sign in, then click on Conference. For further information, to ask questions directly, click here. To download the conference presentations, click here. To share ideas and opinions, please visit the conference forum. For technical support, click here. مرحباً بكم في المؤتمر الدولي لتقويم التعليم والتدريب، تجويد نواتج التعلم ودعم النمو الاقتصادي. للحضور والمشاركة، اختر لغتك المفضلة، قم بتسجيل الدخول، ثم الضغط على المؤتمر لمعرفة المزيد من المعلومات. في حال رغبتك بطرح سؤال مباشر، اضغط هنا. لتحميل العروض، اضغط هنا. لتبادل الآراء، قم بزيارة المنتدى. للدعم الفني، اضغط هنا. أصحاب المعالي، أصحاب السعادة، السيدات والسادة الحضور ومتابعين من خلف الشاشات، أهلا بكم من جديد في الجلسة الختامية للمؤتمر الدولي لتقويم التعليم والتدريب. اسمحوا لي الآن بتقديم القراءة العامة للمؤتمر، يليها ذكر لبعض الإحصائيات والأرقام الخاصة به. انطلقت بداية المؤتمر يوم أمس بكلمة لمعالي رئيس مجلس إدارة هيئة تقويم التعليم والتدريب الدكتور أحمد العيسى.
The conference was launched with the holistic speech of His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Al-Isa, Chairman of ETEC's Board of Directors, His speech had an international dimension and provided strategic view of education and learning in line with the Kingdom's presidency for the G20 summit. The conference tackled an important main theme on improving learning outcomes and supporting economic growth. Day one sessions discussed topics about ETEC's experience during the COVID-19 crisis, evaluation for improving education, executing evaluation processes, and quality inspection at schools. Other topics were evaluation and accreditation of technical and vocational education and training programs and the economic return on the quality of education. The second day, topics discussed many things related to the execution of the renewing educational quality on the national level, and another session about benefiting from the data of evaluation through reports and research. The presentations were provided by 51 international experts and officials of the United Nations and lecturers from regional and international universities, experts in economy, education and training, evaluation and assessment, measurement, and national and educational and accreditation. His Excellency, the Chairman of the Board of Directors, and the Dr. Husam Zaman, and His Excellency, Deputy Minister of Labor and Social Development, Dr. Abdullah Abu Snain, and His Excellency, Deputy Minister of Planning and Economy, Dr. Faisal Al Ibrahim, and His Excellency, Her Excellency, President of Princess Noura University, Dr. Inas Al Isa, and the General Director of the Arab Bureau of Education, Dr. Ali ibn Abdul Khaliq Al Qarni, were heads of the sessions, as in addition to the senior advisor of ETEC, Dr. Muhammad al-Zaghaibi, and the general supervisor of Istishraf, the National Center of Information, Dr. Sattam al-Sibi'i. They're all were the heads of the sessions. Now we have some numbers and statistics related to this conference. 57 international experts and officials of the United Nations, lecturers from national, regional, and international universities participated with us, and they are experts in education, accreditation, and evaluation. The number of experts and academics who spoke, 25 experts. Number of lecturers and workshops, 32 lecturers. The 100% of occupancy rate for the workshops with a number of 840 trainees from different countries. 13 hours of the conference, 93 hours of training on 4 days. Number of the media channels that covered the event, 49 national and international media channels. The registers, 11,005 registrars. The attendees on the virtual platform, 53,045 attendees remotely attended through web browsers and the application of the conference and the social media applications from all over the world from 60 countries. Average attendees for each session was 4,130 participants. The total viewers of our live video on social media was 92,000 viewers. Total videos views on Twitter, 267,000. The best at the highest attendance in one session, 6,400 attendees in the education and training accreditation and evaluation session. The number of browsers, 211,000 browsers since the launch of the conference. The best attended workshop was as follows. The first, reviewing practical review of the learning outcomes on the level of programs and curricula according to the matrix of review. 400 visitors for the web page. Also using, we have also another session that had more than 260 attendees. Then the third, 253 attendees. Fourth, self-evaluation for the schools, 252 visitors. Learning and education, 242 visitors for the page. Number of total registers for the workshops, 840 attendees from 8 different countries, 21 workshops, registrars of each workshop for 40 attendees. As for the geographical attendees of workshops, 90% of them were from the Middle East, 10% from the rest countries of the world who are interested in evaluation and the quality of education and training. Now, Your Excellencies, your uh, dear guests, attendees, we will start the final session of this conference, improving the learning outcomes and supporting economic growth, in which His Excellency Dr. Husam bin Abdul Wahab Zaman, the President of ETEC, will provide the final and concluding speech of the conference.
Please allow me to invite His Excellency Dr. Husam Zaman, the President of Education and Training Evaluation Commission, ETEC, to present the conference closing session. فليتفضل معاليكم مشكورا.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, this is the final and concluding statement of the conference about improving learning outcomes and supporting economic growth. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, on behalf of ETEC's employees, board of directors, and participants of this conference, we would like to show gratitude and thankfulness to His Majesty, the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. May Allah protect him, and to His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince, Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdulaziz. May Allah protect him for their acceptance and sponsorship and patronage of this conference on margin of the G20 summit, and for their qualitative support in order to uplift the quality of training and education in order to contribute to the welfare and well-being and enhance economic being and competitiveness globally. Dear ladies and gentlemen, we have spent 2 fruitful days of workshops and discussion panels, and the concluding statement of this conference may be summed up in 6 main topics. First, renewing education and developing it in order to support economic growth. Quality of education is the most important, not its quantity. And this is indicated in the quality of the education and the perfection of what learners learn in terms of skills and abilities, and their ability to utilize them in order to anticipate their productivity when they join the labor market. According to their productivity, they will receive their income and their economic welfare. The same thing applies to the social level. So the more quality of education we have in society, the better growth of economy we have. So the strategies, the national strategies of education should not stop at only enrolling students to schools, but they should continue to make sure that learning is good enough in order to, and they should monitor and invest in developing the tools of education and training and share its data and reports and providing incentives for the good performance in order to improve it and continue and sustain it. This requires improving, providing major reforms in the system of education and measure the impacts through analyzing the data and providing integration between the different roles and responsibilities of the main stakeholders and preparing the environment to be supportive for the change and continuous dialogue and discussion of the performance with the participation of all stakeholders. Second, implementation of education and evaluation processes and the quality of schools. It is important to have data for the faculty of educational process in schools and decision makers in order to continue improve the learning and education processes, and evaluation and achievement and performance are important in order to continue improving the quality for educational processes, focusing on what students learn and improve it continuously. Evaluating schools has a lot of important things to transform from the traditional questionable way to a way of continuous building of skills and improvement. Third, evaluating learning outcomes for higher education. Higher education contributes to the economic growth through developing the human capital and through the different technologies that allow the sustainability of our works, and there are quality assurance systems that reflect the importance of higher education in our national plans. Also, evaluating national higher education should be broad enough to uh, cover the activities that focus on outcomes in learning, educational research, and administrational efforts and performance. In addition to the fourth task that is related to the higher impact of higher education on the culture of society and public health and lifelong learning. Fourth, if assessing and accreditation, evaluation accreditation of training and education programs. It is critical for individuals to receive these skills and acquire them in order to find their income and to have a growth, economic growth for society. This urged us to find and improve our programs in order to support lifelong education and learning with the priorities of expenditure, especially for lowering unemployment and developing the abilities of the workforce. It is important to increase the quality of education, focusing on outcomes. Conformity with or meeting the needs of the labor market is one of the most challenging issues that require a lot of work in order to read and anticipate the context of the labor market with its variable and volatile and changing nature according to the natures of economics, and to make sure that there should be partnerships with training and educational partners from one side and labor market from the other side. With the advancement of telecommunication and technology sector, it is important to use their ideas to continue working on the national qualification framework and develop them to be more holistic and comprehensive, and to follow the international standards for skills and competencies, and to work with the different parts of each sector. Fifth, using evaluation data in reports and research. These data of evaluation contribute mainly uh, to the improvement of data of evaluation and accreditation, especially when we have data about the outcomes of learning and education processes. Parents, educators can, through these data, find evidence that will enable them improve education and learning and training processes. These data include measures for the outcomes, and this requires the creation of databases that are comprehensive in order to improve the systems of education and training. It is urgently needed to improve our policies according to the needs of data in order to have rapid response for crises like this crisis that we are facing all over the world now, that requires quick actions, quick decisions that are unique, different, and variable according to the data that are collected around the clock. It is important for the strategy of data to take care of the governance framework in order to improve the quality, reliability, and preciseness of data, and to train stakeholders like researchers to benefit from these data and to prepare reports depending on this data in order to improve the different aspects and levels of the educational system. Six, the continuity of evaluation processes during the COVID-19 crisis. The restraints of transportation that happened after COVID-19 crisis and the social distancing necessities impacted the educational levels all over the world. Though governments try to find alternative ways like e-learning and using uh, telecommunication and technological aids in order to continue educating. Education is important, and the same is evaluation processes. It is important to keep them going, and Saudi Arabia succeeded, represented by ETEC, succeeded to implement the achievement tests on an online basis for more than 300,000 students using online alternative aids. using AI to monitor the behavior of the examiners. This refers that telecommunication and technology aids and AI can provide successful and effective solutions in order to run tests in normal circumstances, not only in crisis circumstances, and also to continue working on evaluation and accreditation processes. In conclusion, the quality of education is important for the economic growth. And we have a lot to do, and we expect a lot from this quality. And in order to achieve it, we need to have effective evaluation methods and to benefit from the data of evaluation to support our decisions for improvement. In conclusion, I'd like to thank all the national and international partners who contributed to the success of this conference, especially thanking the Saudi Secretariat for the G20 summit and their excellencies and highnesses and the experts who attended and presented in this conference and managed decisions, and for OECD organization for their scientific contribution to the conference. And I'd like to thank you all attendees of this conference for your interaction, for your questions that enriched the sessions of this conference. We would like also to thank the board of directors of ETEC, represented by His Excellency, the chairman, Dr. Ahmed bin Mohammed Al-Isa, the advisor at the Royal Court, and all the members of the board for supporting this conference. And I would like to thank the scientific and organizing committees and all those behind the curtains who are working for the success of this conference. Thank you all very much. And we hope we meet you again soon in next scientific events towards the vision of transformation of this nation under our wise leaders. Thank you and peace be upon you all.
حضورنا الكرام، في ختام المؤتمر الدولي لتقويم التعليم والتدريب، لا يسعنا إلا أن نشكر كل من ساهم في نجاح هذا المؤتمر. شكرا لكافة شركاء النجاح على الدعم والحضور والإثراء المعرفي. شكرا لأصحاب المعالي والسعادة، والشكر موصول لكم أنتم حضور المؤتمر ومتابعيه من خلف الشاشات. Ladies and gentlemen, our respectable audience, we have reached the end of the International Conference on Education and Training Evaluation. We would like to thank their excellencies and all the speakers for their valuable speeches and presentations. We would like also to thank you for your participation. بتفاعلكم المميز وحضوركم الذي فاق التوقعات، نشكر لكم مرة أخرى متابعتكم لفعاليات المؤتمر الدولي لتقويم التعليم والتدريب، تجويد نواتج التعليم ودعم النمو الاقتصادي، الذي نظمته هيئة تقويم التعليم والتدريب بالشراكة مع الأمانة السعودية لمجموعة العشرين. ونلتقيكم بإذن الله في نسخة المؤتمر القادمة بعد عامين. شكرا جزيلا لكم وفي أمان الله.